Hey everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,000 point battle. Chaos Warriors versus Chaos Dwarves. It's almost like a mirror match, only one of the mirrors is like only 3 feet tall, which I shouldn't be talking trash because that's a bad place for them to base a punch off of, you know? But once again, though, this is a really brutal fight. This is my previous opponent from a few battle reports back. He's tweaked his list. I'm playing an all-new list. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm playing Warriors of Chaos again. Let's get it on with the carnage. Here's my Warriors of Chaos list, the Thunder of Tremendous. Might be a thunder, might be a fart, not really sure yet, but I'm excited to try out this list. I have 875 points in characters, and no, I did not take a dragon. I thought about it, but 500 to 600 points in one character just terrifies me. So I have a Sorcerer Lord, Lord Tremendous, because, you know, this is where I really feel that I would land in the old world shortly after becoming a spawn and dying a horrible death. But anyway, he's on a Chaos Chariot. He's a level 4 wizard with battle magic. He's got the Mark of Siege, because duh. And then I gave him the Favor of the Gods, the Infernal Puppet, the Spell Familiar, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. And the idea here is that with battle magic, he's probably going to get Fireball. He's got the Ruby Ring of Ruin, which is a second Fireball, and I can swap out one of my spells for Blue Flame because I'm Mark Siege. So that's 3 magic missiles on one character, and they're all really easy for a level 4 to cast. Granted, the Ruby Ring of Ruin is kind of a toss-up. I just really like the item. The Spell Familiar and the Favor of Gods goes without saying, but the Infernal Puppet is to make it so that I can control the casting phase of my opponent a little bit better. I don't know how I feel about the Infernal Puppet yet. I'm going to try it out, see if I want to keep it. I kind of want to use the Carrion Pendant instead to give him a 5-up regen and poison, because I do intend to throw him into combat, and being in a chariot makes him immune to Killing Blow and Monster Slayer, so... And it's a 360 firing platform, so he's got 360 line of sight. I really like it. Gives him toughness 5, extra wounds, 3-up armor save. There's nothing wrong with this character as far as I can tell. I'm excited to field him. And I liked him so much, I did him again. Here's the second Sorcerer Lord. He's at 430 points. He's in a Chaos Chariot, a Mark of Chaos Undivided. He's my level 4 wizard. He's using Demonology, though, because I like the buffs. And the hexes. He's got the Spell Familiar, duh. He's got the Tome of the Dark Gods, because not only can he take any of the signature spells from the Lore of Chaos, but he can also take the signature spell from Demonology, giving him access to Blue Flame, the Summoning, and then with the Rod of the Dam, which I also gave him, there's 3 magic missiles on him as well. Again, all relatively easy for a level 4 to cast. I'm excited about that one. And then, of course, he's got the Favor of the Gods, because duh. In core, I've got 533 points in total. I've got 5 Chaos Warhounds with Armored Hide, because I need some sort of chaff in this army. Because my Chaos Knights, who I have at least 6 of, full command Lances, the Icon of Darkness to make it a little bit harder for my opponent to shoot at him, the Brazen Collar because it's the best 20-point item in the game, and I gave him Mark Khorne because who doesn't want extra attacks? I know it doesn't go to the mounts, but having, you know, 2 attacks for each model and then 3 for the unit champion makes them a much more viable unit. And then, of course, it was so much fun I did it again with 6 more Chaos Knights. These guys are worth 254 points. Full command Lances, the Rampaging Banner, because gods know I like to fail a good charge. Brazen Collar, because, again, if I can put it on a unit, I'm going to. MR2 is way powerful in this game, and they also have the Mark of Khorne. In special, I have my Dragon Ogre, who's a Shartak. I gave him a great weapon because Strength 7 is nothing to sneeze at, and the Blackened Plate because having a 2-up armor save and a 3-up ward versus Flaming has been incredibly useful multiple times. I also have 6 Chosen Chaos Knights because I really like Knights. I don't know if I'm going to keep them in this list. I want to experiment with some stuff, and 334 points goes a long way. But right now in this list, obviously I'm trying them. Full command Lances, full plate armor to give them that beautiful 2-up armor save. Got the Brazen Collar for reasons I've already talked about. Banner of Rage because I want them to have extra attacks. And with the Mark of Nurgle, it makes so that those 6s are going to get re-rolled, which makes them even more dangerous. It's a small little unit that's just basically a blender in close combat. And then in rare, I took a gigantic spawn of chaos marked corn, or spawn of corn. I love the gigantic spawn of chaos. It's not quite a mutilate vortex beast, but it's really close. And with corn, he has impact hits and killing blow. I know Nurgle gives him a regen, but when it comes to a spawn of chaos, I am all go, no quit. There's only one gear on this bad boy, and it's full auto. So all that to say, I send him towards the enemy and just let him do his thing. I love the spawns of chaos, but that's it for my list. Here's my opponent's list, and it's Flavis Rex once again, who's playing Chaos Dwarves. He was the one who played Chaos Dwarves last battle report. He's got 732 points of characters. He did tweak his list a little bit since the last time we played, go figure. But yeah, it's still a real solid list, and I was excited to play against it. He's still got his Sorcerer Prophet at 495 points, who's his general. He's on a Bale Taurus this time, level 4 wizard with Demonology. He's got a Demonic Familiar, the Armor of Destiny, and a Dark Forged weapon, which he rolled, and he got +1 to cast, which honestly I think might have been the best thing he could have rolled for this particular kit. Then he's got his Hobgoblin Khan at 92 points with a short bow, light armor shield, the Hell Shard, and the Sword of Might. Keep an eye on that Hell Shard. It is significant in this game, and it's also hilarious. And then, of course, he's got his Demonsmith Sorcerer at 145 points, who's a level 2 wizard with dark magic. He's got Black Shard armor and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. In core, he's got 34 Hobgoblin Cutthroats at 119 points with full command and short bows, 20 Infernal Guard at 303 points with full command and a war banner, hand weapons and shields, and then 8 Infernal Guards as a detachment to his Infernal Guards with the Fire Glaive, and yeah, that's just a shooting unit. Those Fire Glaives are really, really good. In special, he's got a little bit more support this time with 2 Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers, and of course 20 Infernal Ironsworn with full command, the Ashen Banner, full plate armor, and a shield. In rare, he's got the Dreadquake Mortar at 185 points, and he added an Ogre Loader to it. I had never encountered this before, ever, in my entire wargaming career, so running into this thing and seeing how it worked was actually quite game impacting. It was very interesting, and I'm glad he took it. I now fear them a little bit.
Here are the spells I got for this one. My general has Blue Fire, Fireball, Arcane Urgency, the Cowardly Flight one, and Pillar of Flame. My other level 4, the non-general, has Fleshy Abundance, Blue Flame, the Summoning, Demonic Familiars, and Demonic Vessel, I believe. The nubby Chaos Sorcerers ended up with the Summoning, Demonic Familiars, Demonic Vessel, and Steed of Shadows. And the tiny nubby Sorcerer ended up with Doombolt and Word of Pain. Sorry, it took me a second to remember. Here's deployment, and I gotta be honest, it's been a while since I played Warriors of Chaos, so I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to set up. I had more placements than I'm used to. I had a more aggressive army than I'm used to playing. So I started off in the center with the Chaos spawn. I figured I'd put him in there, the gigantic spawn, put him there, and my opponent was going to have to, you know, kind of play around him because he knew the rest of the army was going to be close. So what I ended up going with was my general's over on the left flank there. He's got the Infernal Puppet, and I definitely want to have that as close to his casters as soon as possible. I put the Dragon Ogre in front of the Chosen Knights in the woods just to stave off any crazy charges I didn't want him to go into right away. Probably shouldn't have done that, but, well, you'll see how it all pans out. I've got my second sorcerer in the middle with the hopes that his general is going to go towards my general and then give my level 4 sorcerer with all the magic missiles. Well, they both have 3, but you know what I mean. Basically free reign to attack as he sees fit. The dogs are helping the knights with the rampaging banner, just kind of shielding them a little bit of a screen, and then my knights with the Icon of Darkness are on the flank to go after his war machines on the hill, because while I don't get to reroll it, if he does shoot at him with the bolt thrower, he's at -1, so it just makes sense to me. On his side, I believe those are his Infernal Swordsworn on the left flank there with his level 2 wizard installed. Next to them are a unit of regular Infernal Guard. Behind them is obviously his general. In the woods is his detachment of guard with the fire glaives, and then there's a little bolt thrower in the woods with him. Next to them is this massive brick of hobgoblins with the con installed, and then on the hill is his remaining bolt thrower and the Doomquake Mortar of Doom. Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm excited.
Here's top of one after movement. I got to go first. No charges, but I was able to get Fleshy Abundance off on my secondary level 4. I move everything else up, and I'm actually pretty happy with my placement. Nothing can charge me. That's one of the benefits of playing Dwarves. You definitely have the charge advantage. My Knights on the right flank shot the full 14 up in order to get as close to that hill as possible. I want to charge in turn 2. The dogs are up front. I'm hoping that he shoots and kills the dogs. I'd be fine with that because then my Knights have an easy charge into the hobgoblins. The spawn only went up about 10, maybe 12 inches. I moved him up as max because, I mean, again, he's not going to charge me a whole lot with the exception of maybe his general, but everything is just outside of his charge arc. And then my general is over on the left flank there. He's within 24 inches of my opponent because I want the Infernal Puppet to work, but that means he gets to dispel my stuff. So it's a gamble, but I think I'm going to come out on top. That was it for movement. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any spells off with my general, but my other level 4 was just outside of range, and he was able to get a few of his magic missiles off on the small unit of fire glaive wielding guys, killing off 6 out of 8 of them. They passed their panic check, but I'm not nearly as worried about their shooting anymore. So here we are in the bottom of turn 1, and he does get Steed of Shadows off on his Ironsworn, his Infernal Ironsworn or whatever they are. And yeah, so it makes movement 3 basically March 24 Dwarf. He goes right after my Sorcerer General, which I get it, but there was no way I was charging them. Not yet. They're too healthy, and I'm pretty sure I can get my Chariot out of his charge arc there. The rest of his stuff is basically staying still with the exception of the Infernal Guard, the bigger brick in the middle. They just back up a little bit. Everything else stays still, and that's it for movement. In the shooting phase, his mortar targets my spawn. And as you can see, after the scatter, it does clip the corner, but he actually doesn't get the partial hit. He rolls like a 2 or a 3. But it hits right there, and he rolls an 11. And so everything within 11 inches basically is -1 movement and can't use Swift Stride, which was devastating because I was going to charge with a bunch of stuff, and without Swift Stride, it was no longer within charge range. Not only that, but without Swift Stride, they probably were going to make the charge anyway. It was too far. But damn, it basically gimped my entire army that was going to charge next turn. So that thing is a lot more dangerous than I gave it credit for. Had I realized it, I might have tried to throw my magic missiles at it rather than the Iron Infernal Guard with the fire glaives in the middle. Not that I regret my choice, but man, that is an awesome, awesome war machine. Then the Cutthroats, who have no chill, open fire on my dogs and kill 2 of them, which, I mean, they're just my dogs. They weren't going to really hurt anything. Sure, they were going to go over and try to chew on some dwarves, but they're hardy. They could have taken it. Shooting them. Rude. My poor dogs just couldn't handle the fact that he would do something so rude, and they failed their leadership check, but they're still about 50%, so it's just fall back in good order. They bounce behind the Frenzied Knights, who are actual dog lovers and want to have a word with the Hobgoblins. Nothing else really happens in his shooting phase. Both of his bolt throwers miss, and the Fire Glaive Infernal Guard don't wound. I make my saves. So we go into top of 2, and the first thing I do is I'm able to get, after the strategic phase where really nothing happens, I'm able to get my Sorcerer Lord, my General, out of the charge arc of the Ironsworn, and by doing so, unfortunately, I was in the charge radius of his General on the Bale Taurus thing, or whatever it's called, so I'm really worried about that. I do move the Dragon Ogre and the Chosen Knights to look at his Ironsworn because I'm thinking if my general can get the hell out of the way, I can charge them, and that would be a hell of a fight. I think the Chosen could take them. I really do. I have a stroke of luck. My gigantic spawn is eager for blood, and I end up rolling a 17. I was as excited as you are. Even though those guys are in the woods and I was going to hit the woods, they were 16 inches away, a little under 16 inches away. So it was plenty, even with the -1, to hit him. So he's in combat. Gigantic spawn is already paying dividends. He keeps this up, I might have to name him. My backup sorcerer and the knights, they stand back and wait because due to not having Swift Stride, there are actually no charges in range to actually declare. And then my knights on the right side, they were close enough. They charged the mortar and they made it no problem. That was pretty much it for movement. Shooting isn't great, unfortunately. He stops a lot of my spells. I'm not rolling great. He's rolling great. It's just the way it is. But I am able to get 1 or 2 of my spells off, but I'm not rolling great for wounding, and I only end up killing like 4 of the hobgoblins, which, considering there's like 30 left, it isn't great, but it's a start, and I got to do something, right? I'm not really able to do anything else in shooting, so we go into combat, and a gigantic spawn pulverizes the 2 dwarves, I think with impact hits. So either way, no matter what happens, they don't do anything to him, he kills both of them, and I overrun just so that he can't be countercharged. And due to the wonderful, wonderful ability of the FAQ, he passes leader check and reforms to look over at the bolt thrower, because not only do I want to kill the bolt thrower, I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm going to put him into the cutthroats as well, just to ensure that they all die. And in combat over here, my knights are easily able to destroy the mortar crew and blow up the mortar, which is good, because now I don't have to worry about it inhibiting my movement anymore. And then I slam into his bolt thrower, because I'm frenzied. I have no choice but to overrun straight forward. And I just hit him corner to corner, like maybe a few millimeters over. It's pretty obvious that I hit him. But yeah, that's where we end up. With combat all finished, we go over here to bottom of turn 2, and things are starting to get a little hairy. So his general does charge my general, and I'm like, you know what? I'm curious to see how he's going to do. It's not a great combat for me, but I do have my assailant, and having his level 4 in combat with my level 4 might actually be beneficial, because it's going to stop his casting and all that. So, okay, I'll stand. Terror check. Guess what I failed to do? Pass a terror check. So he went fleeing and he actually got away. So that's good, but I'm in a bad place right now. I am thinking though in my turn that I might be okay, because I'm going to charge the dragon ogre into the Ironsworn, and then I'm going to charge my chosen chaos knights into his general. That should be a pretty decent fight. I'm going to refuse the challenge so that my guys can beat the crap out of him, because I know he's going to challenge. So I won't get my unit champion, but I'm hoping with just the sheer amount of strength 6 attacks that I'm just able to pulverize this thing. That's the plan anyway. In the middle there, his unit of Iron Infernal Guard move forward to join in the fight. The Hobgoblin stands still to volley fire, and that's really it. Oh yeah, and on the left side, the Ironsworn do turn to possibly charge into my general next turn. My plan for that, though, I'll show you next turn. So real quick before I forget, during the strategic phase, he cast a spell. I don't remember what it was, but I tried to dispel it with my general, and of course I roll a miscast. I miscast 9. I do stop the spell. I think it was Steed of Shadows again, but I'm done dispelling for the rest of the turn. Not a great look. We go into shooting, and I think the combined shots of all the hobgoblins killed 2 of my knights. 2 of them, not the chosen guys, just the regular flavor, but the audacity. They have a question for them. Just a minute, hobgoblins. We'll be right there. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, hey, what happened to the combat in that turn? Completely forgot about it. Like, until I saw this picture, I didn't realize that we forgot to do the combat on this hill. So yeah, it is what it is. But we go over here to top of turn 3, because neither of us were looking at that corner of the map, and I start my movement, and I'm able to rally my general. Thank God. He turns around and moves a little bit. He doesn't march, he just moves a little bit. The Dragon Ogre and the Chosen declare a charge. And the Dragon Ogre, I roll a 1 and a 2. So I needed a 5 or a 6 to make it into the Ironsworn. I know it was a sacrificial shot, but I was going for it, and I failed. I needed a 5 or 6, I rolled a 1 and a 2. So he goes like 2 inches, which blocks the charge for the Chosen, which is terrible. I am SOL now, and I know it. With that, I know with my level 4 that I need to start doing something about the guard and his generals, so I move over there to start volley firing at them. The dogs, I've decided, aren't going to do anything else for the rest of this game, so I just move them down the table. They did rally. It was just fall back in good order earlier. Now I'm just saving their points. The other knights that are a little pissed off at the hobgoblins for shooting at them charge, and they make it, weathering their stand and shoot without any issue. The gigantic spawn makes it into the bolt thrower, no problem. And yeah,
the other knights on the hill with the other bolt thrower, call time in, and yeah, literally didn't notice until this point. Also, the reason that my chariot is so far is not because I marched. I was able to get Arcane Urgency off and move him again. So that's why I was able to get out of charge arc of the Ironsworn, which I felt was a pretty good move. That's it for my movement, though. In the shooting phase, I know this damn general is going to attack either my Dragon Ogre or my Knights, and that's going to be really, really bad. So I start trying to throw everything I have on him, and I am fortunate enough to be able to put 2 wounds through on him. The problem is a lot of my magic missiles have flaming attacks, and he's got that dark armor, blackened armor, or whatever, that basically gives him a 3-up ward. So the fact that I got 2 wounds through, I'm feeling pretty happy about that. I didn't feel super confident I was going to be able to do anything more, so my secondary sorcerer fired all his magic missiles he could get off on the unit of guard, and I was able to kill 3, which, yeah, it's a start. We go into combat, and yeah, I start with the knights because, again, didn't even notice that we had forgotten about it. But yeah, we go into combat, we do the knights against the bolt thrower, and the obvious happens. They destroy them, they're frenzy, they have to overrun, they end up off the table. They will return. In the combat here, my gigantic spawn does go first. He destroys the bolt thrower and then overruns into the hobgoblin so he can help the knights out. I want to make sure they're dead. They need to pay for their transgressions against the 2 dogs and the 2 knights that they've killed because it's just rude. The combat is insane. I'm able to kill, as you can see, 7 of them, and his Hobgoblin Khan issues a challenge. My champion accepts it. And it blows my mind because he kills him no problem. The Khan had the Hell Shard. I didn't even think about that. It's on the list. I mean, my opponent wasn't trying to gotcha or anything like that. I just didn't pay attention. And yeah, sure enough, the Hell Shard goes off and does a wound. A wound gets through on my champion. So even though I got his hero, he dropped my unit champion, which kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. In the end, though, I did win this combat. And my opponent made his save. It wasn't even difficult for him. He made it underneath his leadership value. So he fell back in good order. The knights pursued. I was able to restrain with the giant. And I turned him around because I want him to come after the Infernal Guard on the side there. And maybe even my opponent's general. Just simply because I think it'd be more difficult for him to wound this guy. And since he's unbreakable, I don't care about combat res as long as I win. So that was the idea. You'll see. So here we are, bottom of turn 3, and my opponent does exactly what he should do. He charges into my Dragon Ogre after getting, I think, Demonic Vessel off on his character, which is just going to make him harder to hurt for my Dragon Ogre, if he gets to attack at all. The Infernal Guard move up a little bit closer to start getting into the combat. The Ironsworn move around to threaten the Chosen, which is very, very smart. And that's it. Everything else he has is dead or in combat. Nothing happens in shooting, so we go into combat. And believe it or not, he actually didn't kill the Dragon Ogre in close combat. So I got my attacks off. I think I did 2 wounds to him, but he made both of his saves. And then he stomped the Dragon Ogre into the ground. So that was too bad. And then, of course, he overran into the Chosen. That's really bad. Over here, my knights are able to kill 5 more of the hobgoblins without taking any wounds in return. I win combat by 2 or 3, but he makes his break check and just gives ground 2 inches. I couldn't believe it. So we followed up, and that's where we're at. He's right at the edge. I just needed him to fall back in good order, and no, he rolled his save. These hobgoblins are going to make me earn it. So we go over here to top of turn 4, and I was able to get, what's it called? Demonic Vessel off on my secondary caster, and I charge, and I failed to charge into the guard. That sucked. So I'm not going to be in combat, and I can't cast any spells because I failed to charge. My general, I thought about charging the rear of the Ironsworn, but with only a level 2 caster to stop me, I thought maybe I could do some damage with magic missiles first. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I figured he's pretty far from the Chosen, so he's not going to be able to effectively charge them next turn. We'll see. My spawn, unfortunately, decides to roll an 8, so he all those wind sprints, and he just got exhausted. My other knights come back on the table in the corner, and I just move them into, trying to get him into the combat. I thought about turning him to look at the hobgoblins, but I was so confident that my knights could finish him off. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, right? And then the dogs continue to move away from the board because I'm just trying to save their 30, 35 points. That's it for movement. So my magic phase didn't go great. In total, I was able to kill 2 Ironsworn with my magic missiles. I got a lot of them off. I did a lot of wounds. He just was making his saves left, right, and center. And since a lot of them were flaming, he had that black armor, and he had that huge ward save. I think it was a 5-up. Maybe it was the banner. Maybe it wasn't the armor. I can't remember which. But either way, he had ward saves, and he was making armor and ward like it was going out of style, which is exactly what should have happened. I overestimated my magic missile ability, and you know what? I've been fighting too many elves. I think that's the problem. We go into combat. I drop 5 more hobgoblins. I take no wounds for my troubles. He's got a banner and close order to my banner, close order, and 5 wounds. I win by a landslide, and this son of a bitch makes his save. I think he rolled a 3. I think he rolled a 3 or snake eyes, one of the two. I can't remember which, but literally we had to do the math together, and I was like, yeah, you just give ground. And he was exactly 2.1 inches away from the line, so he stays on the table. I'm still in combat with these guys. So in the combat with his general, he issues a challenge, and he does a wound, and he's got close order. He flubbed really bad, and I made some amazing saves. I have a banner, and I have close order. So it's 2-2. I have a musician. I win by 1. But, of course, he makes a save, and he just gives ground. It wasn't even a fallback in good order situation. He literally made his leadership check. So just to give ground, and since I'm frenzied, I had to follow up. So here we go in the bottom of 4, and his Infernal Guard get into the Chosen Knights. Yeah, my Sorcerer on the Chariot failing to make that charge really hurt. Other than that, though, the other Ironsworn, they try to charge the Knights and fail, and everything else he has is dead or in combat. Nothing else can really happen during his phase. His level 4 is in combat. His level 2 failed to charge. There's nothing to shoot with, so we go straight into combat. And this one actually doesn't go terrible. The Knights lose. I think I lose by 1 due to rank, banner shenanigans. I do lose one of my guys, and I think I lose by 1. And of course, I fail my leadership. I do choose stubborn. I'm sorry, I don't fail my leadership. I choose stubborn. I fall back in good order. I end up right here, and his general pursues. His unit of infantry did not. They turn to face my sorcerer, who is going to be charging them next turn. And then my knights. I have a bad round of combat. It's 3-3, and we both have musicians. So I killed 2. He's got banner, close order, and he murdered a knight. I killed 2. I have a banner. I don't have close order. It's 3-3, and we both have musicians. So damn, we stand there. I couldn't believe it. These hobgoblins are the toughest hobgoblins to ever goblin. Little frustrating. Should have probably sent the other unit knights in. I mean, quick but brutal. Here we are at top of turn 5, and yeah, it's all over but the crying. I send my Sorcerer Lord General into the rear of the Ironsworn. I send my other Sorcerer Lord into the Infernal Guard, I believe. The gigantic spawn does make it into them as well. The dogs run over to the corner just hoping to survive this. And I take my other unit of knights, who I realize are not going to get close enough to charge anything. They turn around to look at the hobgoblins because I'm starting to realize I don't know if my knights are going to pull this off. So, yeah, things are hanging on by a razor's edge right now. I'm starting to think I might lose this. Nothing happens in Magic at all. I can't shoot. Everything's in combat. So we go straight into combat. And this doesn't go great. He makes a lot of his saves. I make all of my saves. I was very proud. He's got banner and close order. I've got 3 kills, rear, and close order because it's a heavy chariot. And he can't get his ranks because he's disrupted because I'm in his rear. And he's got first charge, but whatever. And yeah, he makes his leadership check. Not only did he make it, all he did was gave ground. I thought he was going to fall back in good order at a minimum. Nope. He just gives ground. I think he has stubborn and shield wall, which is the reason that he was able to do this time. It still was very frustrating, but at least I'm still in their rear. Combat over here goes pretty well. I kill, 6 of his guys? I do end up in a challenge with his unit champion, which is fine. I kill 5 of his guys, and I do 2 wounds to the unit champion because I flubbed pretty bad. He does absolutely nothing back to me, and then he does stubborn and shield wall, which pushes us just a couple of inches to the left. In the combat with the hobgoblins, I think I lose. I kill 2 and I have a banner. He kills 1. He's got a banner in close order. So either, let's see, I killed 2 and I have a banner. He killed 1. He's got a banner in close order. So we tied. He has a musician. I lose by 1. And I end up giving ground. He restrains because he wants to shoot with his 6 guys, which makes sense. He's got a better chance of shooting and killing the knight rather than getting him in close combat where he could swing back. So, yeah, that is the toughest unit of hobgoblins on the planet. Ooh, yeah, and in combat with this general does not go well for me. He does like 3 wounds total. I think he kills 2 of the knights, and he's got close order. I do nothing back. All I've got is a banner. I lose by 2. And I make my leadership, so he just gives ground a couple inches, and after a little bit of thought, my opponent does end up following up. He doesn't try to restrain. So, kinda crazy. The Chosen just are not giving up. This is a lot of fun. So we go over here to the bottom of 5, and honestly, nothing happens. We're already in combat across the board. The only thing that's not is hobgoblins, and they're going to shoot at my 1 remaining knight to try to get those points. And, I mean, they've already pretty much made their points up, so if they kill him, it's just kind of guaranteed. That's it. Literally nothing else to do, so we go straight into combat. We start with his general because we know what's going to happen, and yeah, he kills off the last knight. He is able to restrain, and he turns to face the combat with the other Sorcerer Lord and my gigantic spawn. In this combat, my general is able to kill 1 more guy and has a rear and close order. My opponent has close order and a banner. I win by 2, I believe. And he makes his break check. I end up restraining and just kind of turning to try to get out of there. I don't know why I did this. I think I was thinking I was going to shoot at his general some more. That was really stupid. I shouldn't have done this. I should have stayed facing him. I don't know what I was thinking. I made a huge tactical blunder here. So in combat over here, I flub spectacularly. I end up doing a total of 3 combat res. He does 2. I win by 1. And my opponent easily makes his break check. I do stop my Sorcerer Lord from going into the combat because I know his general's coming in. I'm hoping that maybe, especially with the higher toughness, I'll be able to weather his attacks. Meanwhile, I'm counting on the Chaos Spawn to finish off the unit. I didn't see any reason to leave my Sorcerer in there because all it was going to do was help with combat res for the Spawn, and I honestly believe that he could finish him off by himself. So this is it. This is the wire. It's top of 6, and not a whole lot of movement. I decide, screw it. My chariot's going back into the Infernal Guard because I want to try to finish him off. I'm not going to shoot enough to do enough to his caster, so it doesn't matter because the very first spell I try to cast in the strategic phase, I miscast on, and I miscast, I think 8 or 9, whichever one lets him dispel it. He dispels it no problem, and my best laid plans are gone. So that's why I charged in with my other chariot, because I was like, well, I can't cast anymore, might as well. Also, I forgot to get a picture of it. My knights, my second unit knights did charge into his hobgoblins and kill him off. He didn't kill the final knight, so he survived, but yeah, we finally got the hobgoblins. It just took a fresh unit of knights to finally do it. So yeah, not excellent at all. I know I wasn't going to kill off his general, but I was hoping I could put 2 or 3 more wounds on him so that maybe my Sorcerer Lord on the chariot could finish him off. Oh well. With quite literally nothing left to do, we go straight into combat, and between my Sorcerer Lord, who did not get impact hits, so please don't ask, and the gigantic spawn, we kill all but 1 of the Infernal Guard. So we win by a ton. He literally needs snakes to stick around. And he does. He rolls snake eyes to stick. I couldn't believe it. Is that not the most narratively perfect thing to happen in this game? A Chaos Dwarf was too stubborn to run from a Sorcerer Lord on a chariot and a gigantic spawn of corn. So I'm stuck there. I'm literally stuck there, and I can't kill him, which means I only get 25% of the point value of that unit. Oh, man. I mean, yeah, he still does give ground and everything, but I restrain and I just turn to face his general because I know it's coming. I know I'm screwed. So here's bottom of 6, and yeah, his general goes into my level 4. His Ironsworn turned to look at my general for whatever reason. I think he gets Demonic Vessel off on his general, not that it's really going to matter, and that's it. We go straight into combat because there's nothing else to do, and he does 1 wound to me. So he's got a wound in close order. I have close order. I'm thinking I'm okay. Nope. I roll a 10, and then I roll a 5, and he runs me down. So there it is. There's the end of the game. And yeah. I can tell you right now, it's a loss. By that Infernal Guard, Snake Eyes staying like he did, and then his general running down and killing my Sorcerer Lord, that pushed it over the top, and he has more points. He has enough for a solid victory against me. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Such an excellent game, and what an epic way for it to end. Oh, let's get into the recap. Man, that was a good game. I don't know what it is about fighting Chaos Dwarves, but when you're playing against them, I don't know what, but I really, really enjoy these games. I haven't won against them yet, and I'm still really enjoying it. It just felt good to be playing Warriors of Chaos again. When I first started, I was playing Lizardmen, then I went to Warriors of Chaos. I got exhausted by all my failed leadership checks, so I started playing Tomb Kings, and I still really like the Tomb Kings, but Warriors of Chaos just feels more like my play style. 6 magic missiles is amazing. I know I didn't get them all off every single round, but having that many at the ready, it feels good. I like that a lot. The Knights are incredible. They really are. I am going to tinker with the list a little bit, but yeah, the Knights are incredible. Hobgoblin Cutthroats, gotta give it to them. They earned my respect. They held off against those Knights the entire time, and that Hellshard attack from the unit champion, or I'm sorry, not the unit champion, the hero, was hilarious. I thought that was outstanding. And that damn solo Infernal rolling Snake Eyes to stick around at the end stopped the draw. Like, if that unit had died and I'd gotten full points for it, it would have been a draw game. But no, instead I lost because one dwarf was too stubborn to run off. If that's not perfect narrative gameplay, I don't know what is. Ah, but darkness called, I answered, and hello, my old friend. It's good to be back. So while the skulls for this game aren't going to go to King Hotep, long may he reign, they will be going to another lord, Khorne, because skulls for the Skull Throne makes sense for Warriors of Chaos. So I was able to add a Hobgoblin Khan to my pyre, if you will. In core, I got 27 more Infernal Guard, and 34 of the toughest, most stubborn Hobgoblin Cutthroats to ever be fielded on Old World Battlefield, bringing the total up to 46, so we're getting there. In Special, I was able to get 6 more Ironsworn, just couldn't get them into a combat that I felt was going to go my way, although my general did try, and then I got 2 of his Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers in this game, which makes the pyre much, much bigger. In Rare, I finally added something. It was a Dreadquake Mortar, which, that thing was dangerous, so I'm really glad to be able to offer that to the Great Lord Khorne. The Wood Elf and Tomb King piles are still going to King Hotep, but one day I will add more to the Skull Throne. And of course, with Demons and Warriors, I mean, did they really go to the King, or did they go back? Did they go to both? I don't know. Go ahead. Argue about it in the comments section. It'll be a fun conversation.
But that's it. That's the end of the game. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. And as always, thanks!